everybody, welcome back. This is Mr. Rivera with another coding tutorial. Today we're actually going to start talking about CSS. Now I know a lot of students have been asking me, all right, so we already learned how to make a website, we already learned how to put our p tags, the paragraphs, the headings, but it still looks kind of bland. It doesn't look that interesting. And I had students ask me, when are we going to learn how to color the website, how we're going to turn the background different colors, the text different colors, decorated, and things like that. So now we're going to learn how to using CSS. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and with the emphasis on style. So with CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets, we could go ahead and create a file that will tell all our tags how to behave or how to look. It is quite simple to do that. There's a couple of things that need to be set up before you could actually start doing it. And the first thing is to start off with a CSS file. So to add a CSS file, you're going to go up here and click Add CSS. And that gives you a CSS file. Okay. You'll notice the .htmls that we have, .jpgs, those are pictures, .htmls, those are HTML files, and now you have .css, that's our style sheet. Okay, but let's go ahead and analyze this a little bit and see what's going on here. So some of these words right here, body, P, and H1, might look very familiar to you. Those are actually being pulled from our tags, body, H1, and P. So we know that it probably interacts with those in some way, shape, or form. So let me go ahead and split these up a little bit so you could see this a little bit better. So these right here are called rule sets. All right, this is a rule set for the body, this is a rule set for paragraphs, and this is a rule set for our H1 tags. And each rule set is composed of two parts. You have your selector, and then you actually have your rules on the inside. Now, it's not just one. You could add many, and we'll take a look at that in a bit. But it is composed, like I said, of a selector that selects what tag or what thing it's going to modify. And there's different types of selectors, but to start off with, we're just going to look at the basics, like the body tag, the P tag, and the H1 tag. Later on, you'll learn about classes and IDs and how you can modify that even further. So you have your selector, and it's selecting body. And taking a look at these brackets, these are new. You're used to the greater than and less than brackets. So these are curly brackets or curly braces. And immediately after writing your selector, you're going to have the curly brace, and you're going to end it in here. And in between the curly brackets, you're actually going to write your rules. And so your rule is actually broken down into two parts also. So right here, you do have your property and you have your value. So again, your property. So in this case, it's the background property of body. And what's the value we're going to give it? It's white. So it's going to make our body background white. We could actually change that to any color that we choose, and that will modify our web page. So one thing to note, the syntax or the way the punctuation marks and the rules that we have to write this, just like in HTML, we had to have the brackets, the forward slashes. We had to use all of those. In this case, we're now going to have to use a colon to separate the property from the value. And then at the end, you're going to use a semicolon, kind of like a period. So if you have multiple, let's say I want to add color, and say blue, I would end it with a semicolon. Okay, so again, you could have multiple rules inside a rule set. Starting a new rule set, all you have to do, like I said, close the curly braces, so this is all contained. And then you just go ahead and write a new selector, do your curly braces, and then you start a new rule or set of rules. Okay, so now the thing is, even if I change this, you're not going to see anything change on the right side. So let's go ahead and go back to white. What we need to do is we actually need to link it. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and leave this as red so we could see the change here once it's linked. So I've told you previously, never type inside the head. There was a reason for that. I would see a lot of students typing in the head when it should have been in the body. But now we do have a tag that is going to go in the head, and that is link. So this will link our style sheet to our HTML file. So to do so, we're going to start with our tag link, and we're going to use the attribute rel, which stands for a relationship. So the relationship is that it's a style sheet. And then we're going to go ahead and do href, kind of like with our a tag. It's a hypertext reference. And we're going to go ahead and type out or look for our CSS file, which is right there. And then close the bracket. And look at that. Now it's linked. And if we look back, we know that it's going to change to red, or the background is going to be red for the entire body because we wrote it. Now, if I don't like that, I could turn it green. I could turn it blue. I could go ahead and modify those things. And now let's go ahead and take a look at this paragraph right here. Okay, and it's color black, but I could actually turn it red. I could turn it white. Okay, I could actually modify that as much as I want. I could even make that block of text. So this has an imaginary block around it, and I could actually change the background for that. And let's go ahead and do red. And that kind of makes this whole paragraph element red in the background. Okay. So that's just a really quick way to see how all this works together. Again, you have various rule sets, and within a rule set, you have your selector, and then you have your curly braces, and then you have your rule, which is composed of your property and your value, separated by a colon and ending with a semicolon before you either type in a new rule or you close it off with a curly bracket. All right, so there's a lot of cool things that are coming up. I'm going to put a few tutorials on the different things that you could do, like the basics, and then hopefully I'll get a chance to do some advanced CSS with you guys. You're also more than welcome to go ahead and look forward at the lessons, or even start researching of different CSS tricks that are out there. There are cool things like making a gradient, even animating using CSS. So feel free to explore. Go ahead and look it up online. Be adventurous. Go ahead. I mean, that's the way I learned. So next time on our next tutorial, we're going to look at different property value pairs and how that changes up your website. All right. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll see you guys next time.